There's been so much demand for this specific recipe, and that is the beef Wellington. Traditional beef Wellington consists of beef tenderloin surrounded by a duck liver pate or pate de foie gras. Our rendition of it is short ribs. We love short ribs so much. It also gives you the opportunity to prepare it ahead of time. We surround it with a black trumpet mousse that has a base of beef with it. So black trumpet mushrooms, if you will, not foie gras. And then we wrap it in brioche dough. And I particularly love this brioche dough because it's from a great friend and mentor and icon in our country, the great French chef Jean-Louis Paladin from the Watergate Hotel. I want to introduce Devin Nell, our corporate chef here at the restaurant group, for helping me and bring you all of these wonderful videos and stories and recipes and techniques, especially around tack room. Thanks, Devin.
Thank you.
Here we go. We're going to start this process, and it is a process. So there's going to be several different recipes that you're going to learn now. I should say they're all fairly easy when you take them in individually. Talk about mise en place, right? Tools, ingredients, equipment, all those things that you need are ready to go when you start the process. But with patience and with time, and as you all demanded, here's the beef Wellington. We have here a prime boneless short rib plate. We're going to be able to remove some of the fat that's associated with it. Okay, you have some silver skin on this side. You have some silver skin as well as where the bone has kind of just, where they take it off, there's a little bit of that left. I'm just going to start to remove this fat as little as possible, okay? You're not taking off too much. This is an area here where you want to kind of concentrate on, but you don't want to gouge into it. A really sharp knife is paramount here, so we want to make sure that, again, we talk about tools. The quality of our knife, the quality of the blade, the steel. This is a Kenshin set with a Swedish steel, just to realign that sharpness on that blade so you maintain that strong edge that allows you to trim precisely. It's much easier to be working with a piece of meat when you're trimming it that's really, really cold and that fat is really, really hard. Just take your time, right? Especially if you're new at this. Don't try to rush through it. Now you'll also be able to trim some of the fat after it's cooked and after it's chilled as well. Sometimes just scraping that fat if it's cold enough. It's another little technique to get in those areas there where there's a little bit of a change in the elevation of the meat. Making sure I keep my knife blade clean and sharp. Again, if it starts to get warm and starts to get soft, you know, throw it in an ice bath or throw it in the freezer for a few minutes. So I feel pretty good about that. We have our boneless short rib plate. We're going to weigh it. We're going to season it. We're going to bag it. We're going to vacuum seal it. We're going to put it in our immersion circulator at 64 degrees Celsius for 48 hours. I'm teaching you exactly as we do it at the restaurant. Now, many of you are not going to have this machine. We're going to supply you a recipe with a conventional way to cook a short rib. What do we do with all this? Well, you can render this and you can have that as some clarified beef fat to brush on, you know, a steak, or in this case, brush on the face of our Wellington before we serve it. We're going to season it with 1% salt. So go ahead and weigh our short rib plate. That weighs 1,385 grams, and I'm going to ask Devin to do the calculation for me. 14 grams, there we go. So we go to 14 grams here. We're using kosher salt, you know, it's our preferred salt, you know that. I'm just going to go ahead and press that in, right? We don't want to lose any of it. Same thing here. And then go ahead and place it in our in our cryovac bag. Try not to touch the sides if possible. Slide it right in there. Now we're going to go ahead and seal that and start cooking it. And here we have our boneless short rib beef plate, ready to go in our water bath. And this is what it looks like when it comes out 48 hours later. Now we're going to make our brioche. I really love this recipe because of Chef Jean-Louis Paladin. This was his recipe. Brioche is a sweetened yeasted dough, very refined, consisting of course, flour, salt, yeast, sugar, eggs, milk, and butter. We need 2.5 eggs. So how do you get half an egg? So we get half an egg by blending it together, mixed really well, and then taking half of that. So we go ahead, our eggs, our sugar, our yeast, and our milk together. Whip it till it's nice and homogenized. There we go. Have our mixing bowl. Go ahead and put our flour in there and our salt. Here we go. And so we're just going to start adding our liquid. Okay. And let that go for about 8 minutes. You may want to help it along just a little bit. And we're just going to bring that in there some more. Get that flour more incorporated in there. You may want to double or triple this recipe and have enough to make a beautiful loaf of brioche. It's fantastic. Some brioche rolls. At the French Laundry, our donuts are made with brioche base. It's been about 8 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and start adding my butter, sweet butter. Remember, we don't use butter that has salt in it. Adding a little bit at a time. Let that incorporate each time. Butter goes in. Remember, sweet butter and unsalted butter are the same. Okay. Make sure we get all of that good butter there. Okay, so there we go. About 15 minutes. It really starts to come together. It's very gummy, very moist. So we're just gonna go ahead and take that out. We're gonna take a little bit of non-stick spray here. Just spray a bowl, just very lightly. Okay. I would love you to make multiple recipes at the same time so you can really enjoy brioche in a number of different ways. The best French toast I've ever had is made with brioche. I suggest that you get a nice loaf pan, make a beautiful loaf of brioche as well, okay? Very sticky, you can see very sticky. Now what we could do is just go ahead and cover this up, a little piece of film. Let that sit outside, room temperature, for about a half an hour and let that yeast start to activate and it'll rise, okay? And then you've heard of punching your dough down, so then we're gonna punch it down, okay? And then put it in the refrigerator overnight. Okay, so we have our brioche here. I've got a dough cutter, I got a French knife, I have my rolling pin. I have a ruler, not necessarily needed, but it's helpful if you're doing it for the first time. So we're going to roll out 2 pieces of brioche, one to encase the Wellington and the other to make the beautiful trim. So the first piece is going to be approximately 12 inches by 10 inches. The second piece will be approximately 8 by 4. So you should have some left over as well. You can make some rolls if you want, or you can make some donuts, things like that. So I'm just going to go ahead and get a little bit on my hands, pull that brioche out of there. Very cold, but it's also, you know, I can feel as soon as it starts to get warm, it gets really, really soft. So you want to kind of work quickly. I'm going to go ahead and cut this 2/3, 1/3, if you will. Okay. I would put this back in the refrigerator while you're waiting to roll it out. Since I want this to be rectangle, I'm going to try to form it in a rectangle to begin with and try to get it the same thickness, right? So as I roll it, it's an even rolling process, okay? Flour. And then we're going to equal amount of pressure. I'm not putting a lot of pressure. Equal amount of pressure on both sides of the rolling pin. Now you can see I'm working relatively closely to the diameter of the dough. I'm not way out here. I'm right here, so I can really feel the pressure. If I'm putting too much pressure on this side, I can feel it going down, too much on that side. So I want to keep it nice and even and try to go all the way to the end, okay? So approximately 10 inches there. Yep. So now I'm going to turn it the other way and get my 12 inches. Again, now you can see I'm starting to go a little further out, in and out, to keep equal pressure. Okay. Okay, there we go. Now I'm going to go ahead and just roll it onto my pin. It's hard to get it too thin. Okay. Bring out my second piece of dough. I'm not a baker, as you can tell. But I'm not afraid to go ahead and do this either. Right? So make sure that you gain that confidence that we always talk about. So important. To gain confidence is to just go ahead and do it. Don't be afraid. Okay. This is going to be for the lattice that's on top. So again, you want to keep it relatively thin. Okay. And just roll that. Second piece of parchment paper. And I'm just going to lay that out there. Now remember, you can put this in the freezer. I wouldn't put it in the refrigerator because in the refrigerator, that yeast is still going to be activated and it's going to rise. La crepe. And I think we've all had experience with these beautiful, very thin pancakes. Crepes are very easy to make. Again, you can do so much with them. You know, crepe Suzettes, you know, sweet crepes, of course. You can make a savory crepe by making crepes and rolling sliced ham and Swiss cheese in it, for example. We have our flour and our saltier. We have our egg, our milk, and our melted butter. We're going to whisk all that together. Salt and flour already in the bowl. Again, very simple. And just start to mix that in there. You can even make your crepe batter ahead of time and not make the crepes if you want to. Just make sure that you keep it at room temperature because that butter that's in there will get a little bit firm and maybe get a little lumpy. Make sure it's incorporated well. And you see I'm turning the bowl at the same time I'm whisking, so I'm getting kind of double action there when I'm whisking something. Okay, there we go. We have our beautiful Heston non-stick saute pan here. This is 10 inch. You can make 8 inch, but for what we're doing, we need a 10 inch crepe. The ladle. We have a sheet pan here with our parchment paper on it. Offset palette knife as well. Okay. I'm feeling the heat there. I feel a little bit of heat, right? Not too much, right? I can still touch it, which is good, right? We want to start when it's not very hot. In other words, we don't want it to sizzle. We don't want it to stick too quickly. We want to just let that crepe run around. Back on the fire. Here I'm just going to just tilt it up a little bit because I see the crepe batter just running down a little bit. See on the edge, a little sizzle. You can start to pick it up. You can see that, right? Okay. Turn it over real quick. All right. Cook it on the other side briefly. See, we haven't got any coloration on there whatsoever. Okay, let it rise on that side. Cooking that other side very gently. And that should be it. Okay, there's our first crepe. I'm gonna let it cool there. Okay, now we have our crepes ready. They'll cool down. You can actually layer them between pieces of parchment paper. If you're making more than one of the Wellingtons, you can start to layer them between pieces of parchment paper after they're cooled and just wrap them and store them in the refrigerator. We've done our short rib, right? We learned how to clean it. We're cooking it very slow. You know, you can do a conventional preparation of that. We've made our brioche. We've made our crepe. Now we're going to make our sauce. So this is a port wine reduction with black truffles and shallots. And so it's just very simple, very straightforward. Doesn't really take a lot of time or a lot of effort, but you do need a beautiful black truffle. So this is the perfect time of year for that. We have our black truffles here from the Périgord region of France, which is very famous for truffles. Beautifully fragrant. So we have our chopped truffle, we have our chopped shallots, a little bit of butter, a high quality port wine, and then our veal stock. This may be a little difficult for you to find commercially, but you can make it. And so both our cookbooks, the French Laundry as well as the new French Laundry per se, have recipes for veal stock. Okay, add our butter, shallots. We want to cook our shallots so they're completely soft, but we don't really want to caramelize them either. We can add a little bit of water if we want to. If we're apprehensive about becoming caramelized, you can just add a little bit of water to that as well. Of course, that'll all evaporate as your shallots cook and get really soft. You get that aroma instantaneously, that aroma of that beautiful truffle and the shallots together. Add our port. I'm just pouring that over my spatula there because I have a little bit of remnants of the truffle and shallot on there. I want to get all that goodness in the sauce. I'm going to reiterate, this is how this recipe was prepared at Tack Room. Obviously, there are an army of chefs doing different things at different times in quantities that allow us to prepare it today for assemblage tomorrow, the next day, and the next day. Now, by this time, in this reduction process, you can see the steam coming up. All of the alcohol is eliminated as well, so there's no alcohol left in this whatsoever. So if you're a non-drinker, don't worry about it. You're getting the flavor from the port, but you're not getting any alcohol. Okay, you can see. We'll go ahead and add our veal stock. Now we're going to just go ahead and let that reduce. We're going to come back starting with making our mousse and finish with our farce for the beef Wellington.